Living with COVID, the Prime Minister sets out his plan for England, scrapping the legal requirement to self-isolate from Thursday. Boris Johnson says it's time to move from government restrictions to personal responsibility.
Let us learn to live with this virus and continue protecting ourselves and others without restricting our freedoms.
Free universal testing will be scrapped from April the 1st, even if you have symptoms. The Labour leader says it's a mistake.
Free tests can't continue forever, but if you're 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go, you don't sub off one of your best defenders.
Additional booster jabs will be offered to all over 75s and the most vulnerable from the spring. We'll get the latest reaction to the changes. Also tonight, the third named storm in a week, Franklin, batters parts of the UK with floods, heavy rain and strong winds.
Here in Ironbridge, the flood defences are up. Some people have been told to leave their homes because the water levels here are dangerously high, and we're told they're still rising.
Closer to confrontation, President Putin will decide today whether to recognise two breakaway republics within Ukraine as independent. And tributes are paid after the death of Jamal Edwards, the musical entrepreneur who helped launch the careers of artists such as Dave and Ed Sheeran.
And coming up in sport on the BBC News channel, with athletes now heading home, what lessons can be learnt for Team GB after a frustrating Winter Olympics in Beijing?
Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 6. The Prime Minister has announced that all coronavirus restrictions will be lifted in England, hailing what he called a move from government restrictions to personal responsibility. As part of the plans to live with COVID, the legal requirement to self-isolate will be lifted by Thursday, but people will still be encouraged to stay at home if they test positive until the 1st of April. The universal testing programme will also end from April the 1st, even for people with symptoms. Instead, free testing will be available only to the most vulnerable. And an additional booster dose will be offered to all over 75s and the most vulnerable over 12s from the spring, 6 months after their last jab. In a moment, we'll look at the data driving the decision and the economic impact. But first, our political editor Laura Koonsberg reports on the Prime Minister's announcement and a warning: her report contains some flashing images.